everyone, and welcome to Stranger Journey Analytical Program. Today we are gonna take you on a trip through the tough 2020 at the Moscow State University, Faculty of Journalism. So just hold on tight. When life gives you distant learning, just try to stay sane. Well, I'm pretty sure that most of you are tired of all this boring distant stuff. All the students have zero opportunities to meet with their beloved friends, to meet with their highly respected teachers, and just to visit home-like buildings again. Still, we have some interesting distant news which will definitely make you smile and think, that's ingeniously MSU. So, let's start. Well, I just understand that no one can see my pants, but well, I really like it. As most of you know, in spring all the lectures were recorded and then uploaded to a special MSU platform, University with No Boundaries. But this autumn we went further. At first all the lectures were held in Zoom, but then our administration made a move. All the students were expected to have online streaming on University with No Boundaries. But what do you want from a platform which is lagging like I'm lagging on math when more than 200 people are using it? What a good question, you know? But instead of flowing with no technological problems on University Without Boundaries, we had to make friends with Microsoft Teams. Okay. Here I should stop pouring poison, because this platform is actually a pretty convenient one. Despite the fact that first we should open University with No Boundaries and only then go to Microsoft Teams. But we have all the lectures recorded and kept on this platform to re-listen to them any moment we wanted. And moreover, all the books we need for exam preparation are also presented on the platform. So, let's move on to the second news. During distant education, we all have become much smarter. The longer students sit at home, the more interesting programs appear on the web. Well, for example, Napoleon Bonaparte and Joseph Fouché rose from the dead to tell us an interesting story of their great friends of the 19th century on Twitter. And here you can see an Instagram account created by the students who wanted to reveal their identity of a famous English writer, Daniel Defoe. Well, as you can see, Defoe rose from the dead to teach us how to become a real businessman. The last but not the least star in our hit parade is the Instagram account created by Dimas Finis. Well, this guy is here to prove us that one can stay a rock star even after many centuries from death. As you can see, all the teachers now are doing their best to make online education as effective as possible. All these projects prove that both offline and online education in MSU can really develop our creative skills. And as Grigory Prudskov once said, the university gives you as much as you can get from it. That's exactly what we are doing. And now we are moving to the third news. What lucky students we are. Well, do you think I'm still pouring with poison? Absolutely not. Because this year we were supposed to have the tests after every lecture of the history of Russian journalism. But this semester we have only one test, which was delayed for 5 weeks. Well, to tell you the truth, I was a real happy student. Secondly, everyone is afraid of the history of Russian literature. That's the truth. You can read all the books, you can listen to all the lectures and fail the midterm test, and all years fail the final exam. I don't really know how it works, but this semester you can fail the test only if you miss the test. Have you ever made a newspaper using WhatsApp only? Well, if you are a student of the Faculty of Journalism, I'm pretty sure you have such an experience now. As I've already said, distant education made us much smarter. During the first part of this semester, 14 out of 15 groups of the second year students were preparing editing, and constructing their own material for the journalist online. Some of them even managed to write reportages during the pandemic when all the events were delayed or just cancelled. With the help of layout designers, they produced qualitative editions, the construction of which was discussed through the messengers. That's how good journalists work in condition of distant learning. Our beloved Mkhavan 9 wasn't allowed to shoot at the faculty studio. It was one of the hardest bands of the pandemic. The crew of the channel was left without their big cameras, without green and black background and professional lights. Well, do you really think that the students threw up their cuts? Absolutely not. Our warriors continued to shoot both inside and outside the faculty, not in the studio. In the beginning of December, the reporters from GF Sport made a big video report full of hope and merriment. And the last distant news is entirely dedicated to it. COVID-19 pandemic isn't yet over, but our brave football players are continuing to reach new heights. In a tense match between the team of the Faculty of Journalism and the team of the Faculty of Mechanics and Mathematics, our football players managed to maintain their advantage. The game ended with their 4-3 score. Well, the pandemic can't break our handsome, purposeful sportsman from Hawaii 9. Here I should stop and pass the baton to my colleagues with some interesting news about summer practice, so let's continue.
Hello, today we're going to talk about summer internships that every MSU journalism student has to go through every year. In our uni, they're called summer practice, and it's a necessary part of education because students get to experience working as real journalists and gain essential knowledge. One of our students, Natasha Kaldaeva, kindly agreed to tell us all about how summer practice went personally for her. Hi, Natasha, how are you today?
Hi, good, thanks. I'm very excited for this interview.
That's nice. So, first of all, please tell us where your internship took place and what your position there was.
Well, I worked as a journalist in the organization called First Student Agency. I had to write about freelance, but to be completely honest with you, it turned out not to be so great because I understood that I didn't want to be a journalist at all, so it was so boring for me. That's why I decided to focus on my blog instead, because it seemed to be more beneficial for me at the time.
Oh, wow, good for you. But a lot of people actually want to be a part of the team that you joined in that organization. How did you get there and what exactly made you leave it?
Actually, I just sent an email to the organization and they accepted me. But after working there for some time, I realized it's not for me because I don't want um, to have state themes for writing. I mean, it's not interesting for me to describe whatever I'm asked to describe.
Okay, fair enough. Tell us more about your blog then. What's it called? Where can we find it? And what area of interest does it cover?
I'm blogging on Instagram. I have been working on my page since March, and now I'm an expert in Instagram sales and selling copywriting. It's really interesting to write text for bloggers' projects and to earn money um, for launching my own products and services, such as consultations or mentoring.
Wonderful, very creative. And why exactly was it beneficial to you? What skills did you develop while being a blogger?
I have loved writing since I was a child, but I enjoy it only when I can choose the topics and the deadlines myself. I have been writing for 12 years,
Wow.
and I think it's my main skill as a copywriter. Mm, as for the blogging and selling, I have undergone about 15 educational courses and 3 individual mentoring courses
Wow, that's a
with
lot.
famous Instagram producers, I mean. And now I know a lot, but I still continue studying. I really like blogging because you have a lot of opportunities to share your opinion and to monetize your skills.
Mm-hmm. But I bet it's not always that perfect. What difficulties have you faced in that area?
I think it's competition. There are a lot of different experts, and you need to be bright, to stand out of the crowd.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, thanks a lot, Natasha. And last but not least, what advice would you give to the students who are just about to choose their place of summer practice?
I think you should decide if you are going to be a real traditional journalist. If yes, you need to look for really respected media to prove yourself. But if not, don't bother yourself with practice because summer is the best time to try your hand in the desired sphere. Always know that nobody and nothing can stop you. You can do everything if you really want to succeed in this life.
Wow, that's very motivating. Thank you, Natasha. I hope it was very beneficial and useful for everybody who are watching. Thank you a lot. Goodbye.
Thank you, Milena and Natasha. Now let's go to the darkest news of the year. I'll tell you about our summer session. When veterans of the Faculty of Journalism say that the exams are fierce, they never lie. So let's start from afar. Year 2020, scary and heavy, though it started very well. During our winter exam session, we only had 3 exams, but despite such a small number of subjects, they were foreign journalism, theory of literature, and ancient literature, we were still nervous because it was our first real university session with real marks. But we successfully went through everything. By the way, some of our tests in December 2019 were much more difficult than real exams in January. During the first session, everything was very individual because each group had its own teachers for seminars and colloquiums. Some groups were particularly fortunate with their teachers. For example, during our Russian language exam, some students could answer in pairs. We had a special format of the exam. It was a program during which students discussed different linguistic topics. It was very unusual. As for the theory of literature exam, some groups made a play with an extraordinary teacher who calls herself Fox. It is a really multifaceted and interesting faculty we study at. But unfortunately, all the fun was soon over and the nightmarish spring session approached. Since 2020 decided to spoil everything for everyone, we students also faced some problems. The spring session exams were terrible, to say the least. They were 6 subjects, twice as many as in winter, and the worst one was Russian literature exam. Every time we had tests after our lectures, it was impossible to copy from the textbook, but it was harder with the exam. We didn't know if we were allowed to take quotes because they could ruin our obligatory 100% originality. Fortunately, though, this time everything went better than during the winter session. However, sometime afterwards we calmed down as we realized that we would have to answer the question in written form, thanks to coronavirus. Soon everything was successfully passed, partly thanks to the writing assessment system. By the way, it is worth mentioning that we had to write an essay for geography and economics. These 2 subjects have already gone into our future diplomas. It was fun with geography. In the first semester, we had to write an essay about a country describing its geographic location and so on. And in the second semester, we compared our previous country to the new one that the teacher assigned to us all. The poor unfortunates came across some unfamiliar islands or countries that could in no way be compared to the European ones that some of us picked. According to the messages in our course chat, most of people were more pleased with the writing session than with the usual oral session at the university. However, this doesn't always work like this, because sometimes it is easier to communicate with teachers live, discuss some external topics, if you understand what I mean. But we have coped with everything. There is another distance session ahead, but this time there will be stricter rules and requirements. I just want to wish everyone a light session and great marks. May the force be with us. Amen. It is totally impossible to end our year in review without mentioning our coolest English projects. I immediately remember a lesson at the faculty. Oh, miss it so much. With writing class groups, when we first tried debating, we discussed what it is and how to form arguments properly, and in spring we split into small groups to make a series. Sounds cool. And it actually was really nice too. We all had an unforgettable experience of such work. Sometimes it is difficult, I admit it, but we managed to shoot everything on time. Halloween competition is always worth mentioning. For that online seminar, we had to come up with special spooky makeup and costumes. They were split into teams again and got a task to come up with a cool Halloween storyline. During a limited period of time, we only had half an hour. We wrote our sketches and then we played them. Such activities are always useful. This is a great opportunity to get distracted from serious tasks and have a little break. In the end, I want to thank you, A2, A3, of course, A6, and our wonderful teachers for this unforgettable year. We are now sending you hugs and kisses and finishing our program. See you in 2021! Yoo-hoo!